Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello. This lecture is the 9th lecture of a chapter which is visually impaired persons can read and write. You already must know that we have a lot of blind people around us. Not even blind, there are people with visual impairedness, which is basically a number of diseases related to our eyes. These people are also able to read and write. Now, how is this possible for them? We have different kinds of aids which provide them some help, with which they are able to understand, they are able to read, they are able to write. These are some aids. There are two kinds of aids, non-optical aids and optical aids. Both these aids help in different ways so that the person with any visual impairedness is able to read and write. Let us see what these are. First of all, non-optical aids. Students, non-optical aids are again of four kinds. First is visual aids. What is this? First of all, if a person is not able to read but he is not blind, so what you do is you magnify words, you increase the size of the words written in front of him. This can provide suitable intensity of light and material at proper distances. By magnifying the size of the text, you make this person able to read by providing suitable intensity of light and material at proper distances. You must keep the intensity of the light good, and the object must be kept at a proper distance, and by magnifying the text you are basically enhancing the possibility of the person to look at the text. Then tactual aids. What is this? Basically here we are using the sense of touch, including braille writer. We will be studying what braille is. Braille writer, slate and stylus. This help the visually challenged persons in taking notes, reading and writing. Braille is basically, for example, if a person is blind who cannot see, he touches, and by the touch of it he can read and write. He learns with the help of touch the patterns that are, Braille is basically a book which has patterns made on it, which can be touched and experienced. By touching you can understand what kind of a structure is present on that Braille, and by that structure you are able to identify the alphabets, and hence you can read and write. The third kind of aid is auditory aids, using the sense of hearing, right? There are cassettes, tape recorders, talking books and other such devices which basically make the person hear. So by hearing the person can learn different languages, different alphabets, right? So this is how auditory aids are also helpful. Then the fourth kind of aids is electronic aids, such as talking calculators and computers. Closed circuit televisions enlarges printed material with suitable contrast and illumination. This is the basically closed circuit television. It enlarges printed material with suitable contrast and illumination, which helps the person with disability to look at that very easily. Then audio CDs, voice boxes with computers are also very helpful for listening to and writing the desired text. Right, students? So these are all kinds of non-optical aids, which basically in these kinds of aids we are not enhancing the power of our eye. We are not touching the system of our eye. There is no change in the lens or iris or pupil or cornea, nowhere. These are non-optical aids. These are outside factors that we can change, that we can use to help a person which has some disease related to the eye. Now coming to the optical aids. Optical aids now change the some characteristics of our eye only. Bifocal lenses. What are bifocal lenses? Basically these are the bifocal lenses. Let me draw for you. In case of bifocal lenses, there is a lens present here. There are two kinds of lenses. This is the lens 1 and this is the lens 2. Now lens 1 is there to help the person to look at far objects present very far, and the lens 2, this lens, is basically useful for the person to look at the objects closer to him, right? So these are bifocal lenses. Then contact lenses, we put lenses into our eye, right? That is also a kind of spectacle. Basically we are providing a lens to our eye. Then tinted lenses, then magnifiers and telescopic aids. All these are useful for our eye. With the help of telescopic aids, we are able to look at very far objects such as the moon, right? Magnifiers, basically we have magnifiers to look at very small objects present in our surroundings, right? Then while the lens combinations are used to rectify visual limitations, telescopic aids are available to view chalkboard and class demonstrations, right? So these are some optical aids that we use to correct the issue in our eye, and it helps our eye in a very good way. Both non-optical aids and optical aids are used very intensively because we have a lot of people with eye impairment nowadays, and lenses are the most commonly seen application of optical aids, right? You see people around you who wear spectacles. That is because they either have myopia or hypermetropia, or both of them, or they have some kind of cylindrical lens. You will be studying that also in higher classes. So students, this is how we can aid our eye, how we can correct the defect present in our eye, using the optical and non-optical aids. This is the last topic of your chapter, which is Braille system. Now what is Braille system? As I told you, Braille system uses the sense of touch. This is a tactual aid in which we use the sense of touch, so as to make a person read or write. Let us see how was this discovered. This is Louis Braille, Mr. Louis Braille, inventor of Braille reading and writing system, known today simply as Braille. He himself was visually impaired, due to which he was even more capable of discovering something like that, because he understood what difficulty it was to read or write without the vision, right students? Now let us see what is happening. This is the Braille alphabet. This is the complete alphabet. It has A, B, C, D. Now there are different notations for every alphabet. As you can see, for A it is one thick dot, then five very small dots, and all these 6 dots are present parallel to each other, 3 on one side, 3 on the other side, and on the left side the top dot is a thick dot, right? Now for B we have 2 present on the same side. Then for C we have this structure. Then for D we have this structure. Then for E you can see the different structures for every alphabet. Now they are different for each and every alphabet, hence it makes it easier for the person to read or write, because now they have their own alphabet, the writing structure for alphabets. Let us see how we write cat in the terms of a Braille system. We know that A is written this way, C is written this way, and T is written this way. So how do we write cat in Braille system? We will be writing like this. This is the system example basically. C is written like this, A is written like this, and T is written like this. Now if we write this together, this forms a word which can be called as cat, right? And is written and comma, basically, right? Examples of dot patterns used in Braille system, right students? This and is written as this. For and we have a different kind of structure, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thick dots and 1 hyphen. Then for comma we have 1, 2, 3, 4 hyphens and 2 thick dots. This is comma, right? Now the Braille system has 63 dot patterns or characters. Each character represents a letter, a combination of letters, a common word, or a grammatical sign. As I told you, it represents a letter such as A, B, C or D, any alphabet. Then any letter, and a combination of letters, sometimes a common word, it can be such as and, as we saw the example of and. Then, or it can be a grammatical sign such as we saw for comma, right? It has 63 such dot patterns. Then dots are arranged in cells of 2 vertical rows of 3 dots each. As we saw, dots are arranged in the cells of 2 vertical dots, 2 vertical rows having 3 dots each. Now their thickness is changed according to the alphabet, according to the letter that we are supposed to use, right? Now visually impaired people learn the Braille system by beginning with letters, then special characters, and then letter combinations. Firstly, you learn the English language in this way. Firstly, you learn the alphabet A, B, C, D, E. Then you learn the special characters such as hashtag, comma, etc. Then letter combinations, right? Then you are able to write. Then methods depend upon recognition by touching. Each character has to be memorized. The touch of that letter has to be memorized because these patterns are engraved on the braille, and by touching the blind persons are supposed to read, so the touch has to be memorized for every letter. Then braille text can be produced by hand or by machine. Braille text can be produced by hand also. Typewriter like devices and printing machines have now been developed. Now, due to the modern technology has been really helpful to the blind people and to the visually impaired people basically. Typewriter like devices and printing machines have now been developed. Hence, this is an excellent discovery for blind people that they can work equally as us. So, this was all about the chapter light, students. In this chapter, we studied about light. What is the source of light? How are we able to see objects? Right? What are the laws of reflection? What is reflection of light? What are the different angles of incidence and reflection? What is a normal? What is the function of a mirror? Right? What is the human eye? What are the different characteristics of human eye? What is present inside the human eye? How we are able to look at it? Look at different objects. What is the role of different things present in our eye, such as iris, cornea, pupil, etc. Then we learnt about how we take care of the eye, how our human eye is a wonder, and how we take care of the eyes with the help of a balanced diet. Then we learnt what kinds of diseases there are present in the human eye, what can happen to our eyes, and how they can be treated with the help of non-optical or optical aids or many different medical procedures. Then we learnt how blind people or visually impaired people can be helped in reading or writing. There came the braille system, which uses the sense of touch through which they are able to read and write. So this was all about this chapter.